So, our next speaker is a male survivor of childhood sexual abuse. And I'll just wait for him to come on screen. Hi, Bob.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. So, everyone, I just want to introduce you to Bob, one of my most favorite people on earth. Bob is a survivor, as I've indicated, and he has been very willing to come and speak to you today about his experience in his life, and most importantly, about how he is thriving after trauma, because I think when you hear Bob speak, you will probably share my feelings that Bob is incredibly remarkable and super inspiring with respect to how life has changed for him over the years. And Bob, do you have your little partner there with you?
Right here,
Yeah.
the start of the show.
So this is Max. This is Max, who's absolutely adorable, and he's 3 years old. And we love Max. Maybe. There he is. Okay. So Bob, I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about your background in terms of things like where you grew up and who you grew up with and when.
Okay, well, I grew up in northern Ontario town, Warren, Ontario. There was like 8 siblings in a small 2-bedroom shack. I had my mother with us then and a stepfather.
Okay. And what was life like in your home as a
It was
child?
very, it was a very rough childhood because, like I said, I lived in a shack. There was no running water, no hydro, very, very little food. We had to grow our own food. Yeah, wasn't very easy lifestyle.
No. And what about things like school? Were you getting to school very often?
No, not really because we're way out from the school district. So the buses, like weren't running all the time. We didn't have food to go to school with, probably not much clothing. Yeah.
Okay. And can you speak to us a little bit about what you were experiencing at home, and then you were taken away and placed into foster care, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Now that I'm older and an adult, I guess, looking back, it was like a compound almost. Like there was 6 Lovelace, and the rest of the whole compound consists of Monroes. So it was basically the Monroes hated the Lovelace because we weren't related to them. So it was tough. Like, my stepfather's brothers were very abusive to us. Like verbally and sexually. It wasn't nice. Like, I'll give you one quick example so we carry on. When I used to have to go get water out of a well, we were coming back home, me and my brother Stanley, and like the uncles would kick the buckets and call us names, like I don't want to swear, but the little bastards, like, it wasn't very nice. Like, it kind of puts a scar on you almost.
Yeah, and I think just to clarify for the people online and in the audience, when you're talking about the Lovelies, that was you and your siblings, but then
Yes,
your father wasn't in the picture, and your mother was in a relationship with a person named Monroe, and it was the two families that, well, the Monroes weren't accepting your family, is how it worked out, right?
correct.
Okay. And what about your time in foster care?
Well, the first time I went into foster care, I was way young. I really don't remember too much about it. The only thing I kind of remember is like living in a basement with a couple of my siblings. Yeah, and then we went back home. And then I went out to another place on my own, and it was, it's hard to describe. Like, it was nice. There was a couple of nice factors about it because I was in a home that had heat, a warm bed, food, clothing, like stuff that a lot of people kind of take for granted. And it felt good, but it was the price of living there that really was tough. Because, I don't know, like, I was abused there. I was physically abused. Mentally, they threw me in a fruit cellar for punishment. And sometimes they even made me kneel in a corner on rice and watch the meat. If I messed up at school, like got into a fight, stole things or whatever, like I was a kid, like, I don't know. Just,
So you eventually were able to leave that house, and what that was at about around age 12, I think, right?
somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah. And then, so what did the teenage years look like?
Well, I went back to Warren. Nothing's really changed, and then my mom got separated from that husband she was with, and we moved into Sudbury, Ontario. It was a ghetto, and yeah, that's where I started to get introduced to drugs. I did a lot of fighting. Like I was from a little small town, going to a big city of Sudbury, didn't know anything, so it was a whole different new lifestyle for me. So, like I said, I learned how to fight and started smoking weed and tried to commit suicide once there because I didn't want my mom to have to feed another mouth.
Yeah. What about, were there any people that you looked up to during your teenage years?
I looked up to my brother Stanley. He was my hero. I could tell him and talk to him about just about anything. When my mom met this guy called Delmer, uh, he moved in and he was an inspiration to me. Like, he taught me how to be a man and how to respect women because back in the farm, there was nothing like that. Yeah, he taught me how to work and be somebody.
And then when we move ahead, so you weren't able to finish high school, right? And
No.
you went to Texas because you had an uncle that was living in Texas and spent some time there as well?
Yeah, yeah, that's when I started getting into trouble at school. And my brother, he's supposed to be my role model, but he kind of taught me how to drink. He used to tell me, here, have a drink. And then when I had a drink, he said, well, now you can't tell because you're going to be in as much trouble as me. So, like, he was a guy, yeah.
Yeah. And I know that there was quite a few other traumatic things that happened to you while you were at home, but let's move on to sort of what starts to happen in your 20s.
Well, I got married in my early 20s. Had two kids. One was not mine. That's how I met my ex-wife. She was pregnant at the time. I really appreciate her honesty saying that she was pregnant. Then we had our own child, a great daughter. I worked. I kind of hid my addiction quite well. I was a functioning addict, I guess you would call it. Um,
You moved around quite a bit.
we moved from Ontario to Alberta, back and forth 3, 4 times. Moved to BC. We moved around quite a bit. Yes.
Yeah. And then eventually the marriage breaks down, and what happens at that point?
Well, pardon my French, but that's when all hell broke loose with myself. Like, I was introduced to coke. Can I say this?
Yeah, yeah,
Cocaine?
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Everybody's heard
well,
it. We're okay.
okay. Well, I was introduced to cocaine back when I was in Toronto one time, and I really loved the feeling of it because it made me forget a lot of stuff, made me feel acceptable. Uh, but I was married, had kids, so I knew that I shouldn't be dabbing in that stuff, so I left it alone. I carried on with drinking, smoking weed, figured that that was a normal lifestyle. Um, yeah, and then when she left me, it was a really tough time because I had to bring them to the bus stop in BC and say goodbye to my kids. That was a very tough time. Uh, and when they left, I lost it. I went into cocaine, snorting it. Then someone introduced me to crack cocaine, and that was basically my downfall. Like, I just drank, smoked weed, and did drugs, hard drugs to forget, numb out all my pain, and yeah.
But during that, you worked. Your daughter came back for a period of time, and you stayed as clean as you could during that time.
Yeah.
And then you looked towards rehab, right? So tell us a little bit about your rehab journey.
Well, I'll just tell you something. Like, I was homeless before my daughter came to see me. Like, I bounced around, coaches, whatever. When my daughter came into my life, I quit everything. I got an apartment, and me and my daughter and I were pretty happy together. And then what was the question? I'm sorry.
Well, she left because she was 17 and she moved out. And then
Yeah.
what happened at that point?
Well, then I went back out and drugged and drank and tried to forget again about things that happened in my life. Um,
You tried rehab a couple times, right?
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I tried rehab. It was a 30-day program at Maple Ridge. One of my friends suggested maybe I needed the help, so he drove me into the detox here in Victoria. Went from the detox to Maple Ridge Treatment Center, stayed there for a month. I tried to address my hard drug scenario because that's where I thought I had problems with, but it was all of the drugs that I had problems with, and it was like a gateway to it all. Like I'd start with one, go to the next, and then get back to the hard stuff. And I even told a guy, like, like, I can't wait to get out of Maple Ridge because I'm gonna go for a beer because I'm in here for our hard stuff, not booze. And he took me to a meeting, and then I kind of realized that, well, maybe the alcohol is a factor in this. Because at that time I had a couple of impaireds, and like it was carried on like a family tradition. Like every one of my uncles and my father all drank, so I figured, well, this is a part of life. So yeah, so I went to treatment, And I think about a month after I got out of the treatment center, I was right back to square one where I was drugging, drinking. Yeah.
But then things changed, right? So tell us about how you reached sobriety.
I reached sobriety. I went back, okay, like after I got out and I started drinking and drugging, okay, I went out for 5 years. I was homeless, walking the streets, downtown East Side, if you guys are familiar with that. I was down there for a while. And then I got a few more impaireds. And then one time, the last time I drank was when I had an impaired, it was a car accident, and I hit an elderly couple. I didn't kill them, thank God. I injured them, and I ran away from the car accident. It took the canine unit to come and find me out in the wilderness. I was out in the bush hiding, and the cops woke me up the next morning, and the cop says, "Do you know what you're in here for?" I said, "I have no clue what I'm in here for." And then he told me, he said, "You were a coward, you hit somebody, you ran, you didn't even stay there to see if they were dead. My canine unit had to come and get you." Yeah, so that's where I think I hit my rock bottom, and I said, you know what? Before this, I was only hurting myself, but now I'm hurting people. I need to get the help. So I went into my trailer that I was living at the time. I was going to shoot myself. And made a phone call to a place called the Umbrella Society. It's a society that helps people with the path of journey, like to get help. So they came out to see me, and they got me into the psych ward because I was going to hurt myself. And then after that, I went into detox, and then I went to stabilization for 30 days, and I got myself into Maple Ridge Treatment Center again. I signed up for 30 days, but when I got there, in 30 days, you really don't get it. Like 3 weeks, you kind of getting back to being kind of a little bit normal, and I decided, I said, well, I'm going to stay here longer. So I stayed for 3 months so I could get this. And that's where I had to get really honest with myself and talk about all the things that happened to me. And what we did was an exercise program is you write down your whole life journey. And after you write it down, it took about 3 weeks to do this, by the way, writing it down, remembering things, going back and forth. And then when I finally figured out I had the whole thing, I read it in the class out loud, because there's other people that did the same. And a part of this journey was, after you read it, we went down to the Fraser River, and we burnt it all. And it sounded kind of corny at the time, but it was just to release everything that you went through in your whole life. And it felt like liberating, I guess. Like, it just felt so good just to let it all go. It was not a part of me anymore.
And it's been 11 years sober, right?
11 years coming up October 13th.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Thank you.
Bob, one of the things you said to me that I thought was just amazing when I talked to you about your journey, and you said, and I asked you about recovery and what is a big part of your recovery, and you said to me, it's to find joy in life. And I thought that was amazing, because not only do you deserve joy in life, but can you tell us a little bit about how you found your joy in life with that sobriety?
Well, I think one of the things that really stand out to me is I can look in the mirror and be proud of who I am. Like, there were so many times I looked in the mirror and I just wanted to punch that mirror because how I felt about myself. But after the treatment center and getting out, walking around, looking at things in a different, I don't know, lens, maybe was a good word. Just to appreciate things, like the small things in life, like a bed, for example, a house, a roof over my head, food in my fridge, my ever-loving Max, I have a partner now in my life, and she's my rock. Like, we're very honest with each other. If there's something bothering me, I could talk to her and vice versa. Life is good now. Like, I have my bad moments. Everybody does still, but it's what you do with that moment, like, I can turn it around in a heartbeat now. Like, before, I would sit there and dwell in it, and nothing good would come out of it. You kind of leave me speechless, Linda.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about that? So when you have a trigger or you think about the trauma, what are some of the things you use to sort of recenter?
Well, I do breathing. Like, I'll give you an example, okay? I was walking down by my house, and like a part of my story is a guy was a pedophile, whatever you want to call him, and he would do things in the garage. So I was walking down the street by my house, and there was an old guy, and it gave me that flashback, okay? And what I did at that moment right away is I called up my partner, Jill, and I just said, you know what, I had such a bad trigger, and like talking about it, like finding something you can confide in and being able to be honest with them, right? I think that's one of the most important things. And like, I have Max now in my life, and like, I wouldn't change that for anything in my world. Like, it's amazing what a 16-pound dog can do for you. Like, use my support. It's amazing. Like, I look at his little brown eyes, and I can never have a bad morning ever again. Like, yeah, and like, I have a lot of gratitude, like, there was so much I was missing, and now I have so much to lose if I went back out, and it would be just redundant. Like, I'm trying to find that word.
Don't say it then. Don't say it.
Okay.
So I know that one of the things you do too is you take walks regularly, and for in the audience, Bob lives in Victoria, BC, and talk a little bit about how just being in Victoria is a great thing for you.
Oh my God. I'm about 5 minutes away from the ocean. It's called Dallas Road. It's like Canada, California, okay? You got cars cruising around, you got people walking around, you got cyclists, you got people on rollerblades. Like, it's a beautiful spot. There's a couple of spots that are my favorite, like the Breakwater is one where there's a lighthouse way out, and it takes you, it's about a mile almost there and back kind of deal. You get to see whales periodically. I've been lucky enough to see them twice out there. It's just a great walk I go up to Mount Doug, which is on the other side of the city, and like you could see the city, you can see where I walk Dallas Road up there.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful spot to live in. You know,
Yeah,
there's a lot of beauty. Yeah.
and you work as a painter, so you paint a lot of those. You send me pictures of those beautiful gingerbread houses that you're painting with all the different
Yeah.
colors. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I love painting. It's one of my passions. Like, it was one of my hidden talents, I guess. And I enjoy painting. At the end of it all, I look back, go, wow, I did that. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty inspiring.
yeah, yeah. Um, Bob, would you be interested in a question or two?
Sure.
I don't know if the audience has any questions for Bob. People are shy. People are shy.
Can I say
Oh,
something about my recovery?
you can for sure. Go ahead.
Okay, like, I even ran Smart Recovery. I don't know if you guys are aware of it. What Smart Recovery is. It's the self-management and recovery training. And like I did the 12-step programs a long time. And then when I was introduced to Smart Recovery, it was a cognitive thinking, okay? And I found that like the 12 steps, don't get me wrong, they helped me out a lot. But Smart Recovery changed my way of thinking. Like I have the ability of doing like I have the ability of to say yes or no, okay? In the 12-step program, sometimes it's self-defeating because you say, hi, I'm Bob, I'm an alcoholic. Well, there's more to me than just being an alcoholic or an addict, okay? Like, I am an uncle, I am a father, you know, like, I've got a lot more to give than to be saying, like, I'm just an alcoholic. And that's why I decided to run Smart Recovery for like 5 years. And once COVID hit, it was kind of tough to get back to Smart Recovery because most of the rooms were closed. They didn't have the staff to clean it afterwards, or we didn't know how to clean it properly. So I decided not to run it anymore. And yeah, like I do my readings, like just for today, it's a 12-step book. And after I read that, usually on a daily basis, I'm not gonna lie, like some days I don't read it, but most of the time I do read it, and then I discuss with my partner, you know, what I'm getting out of this read. And yeah, that's what keeps me going, I think.
Yeah. And you're going well, and I'm so happy and proud and grateful that you were willing to share your story with us today, Bob. That's very special, very inspiring. And I think before we let you go, you'll have to give us another little shot of Max.
Well, okay, hang on. I'll go get him, okay?
Okay.
Here, buddy.
I'm very fortunate because I regularly get little photos of Max, so it's always nice. There he is. Hey, Max. Hi, Maxie.
Buddy, I woke him up.
Thank you so much, Bob. We really appreciate you joining us today. I'll talk to you
Well,
soon. Oh, go ahead.
I appreciate you guys inviting me. I'm sorry if I wasn't the greatest speaker in the world, but
You did fabulous.
I just talk from my heart, okay?
Oh, you absolutely do. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Good
Oh,
luck with
sorry.
your...
Oh, sorry. We do have a question. We do have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, hi, Bob. Sorry, thank you. Hi, Bob. So I
Hi.
know where Warren is in Sudbury, Ontario, because I come from Manitoulin Island. So I used to party in Sudbury back in my day as well. Yeah. So and I'm reliving it, going, oh my lord. Okay. So,
The
anyways,
Kingswood Hotel.
yeah, knew a few of those down there. Yeah. Anyways, you were talking about your 8 siblings and your family. What are your connections like with them to this day?
Well, we are getting very there's not very many of us left. Most of them are passed away from their addictions. I'm still close with a couple of my sisters. I have one brother in Mission, and yeah, we're pretty close. I have one sister who I don't talk to too much because, I don't know, she went her separate ways.
Yeah, and that happens in big families, right? Yeah, it does. All right, thank you for sharing.
Oh, we
Thank
have
you.
another question.
Oh,
And Bob was being generous. He was actually one of 12.
Hi, Bob. I wanted to ask you, and I don't know where to look, where the camera is, so I don't know if you can see me, but I wanted to ask you when you knew you were ready to speak out in a more public way like this. How did you know that?
after my treatment center, reading my story out loud to the class, I was ready for it. Like, I could go into a 12-step program, smart recovery, and say, yes, I was sexually abused. And I don't feel bad about it anymore. Like, I'm trying to, I don't know, help people, like, they're not alone.
Thanks, Bob. Okay.
You're welcome.
Oh, we'll do one more question.
Okay.
Thanks, Bob, so much for sharing your story. Very impactful for us today. I appreciate it. I just want to go back to when you made the call to the umbrella. You called it an umbrella society. Can you just take us through a little bit more of that conversation? You jumped ahead, and I just wanted to know how you were able to sort of compose yourself and think about making that call, and how quick did they come to sort of, form you to the psych ward at that point? I wanted to hear a little more about that, if you don't mind.
After I got out of jail that morning, okay, from the car accident, like I said, I was going to shoot myself, and then I called one of my buddies up that was in the 12-step program, and he came and got me and took me to a meeting, and then he explained to me what the Umbrella Society was, which I had no clue we had in Victoria. And when I called them up, I had a guy come out to Langford from Victoria, which is a 20-minute drive. He was there in like an hour, and like that guy did above and beyond the call of duty, I think. I know it's a part of their job, but he came all the way out there, brought me right into the psych ward, and stayed with me until they found a place for me to stay in there. Like, I think the Umbrella Society is a really good program here in Victoria. I don't know if you guys have it in Ontario, but I think it sure saved a lot of people here.
Yeah. Okay, Bob. We'll let you go back to Max and have breakfast because it's very bright and early for you right now.
Yeah, I'm going to go
So-
painting at Jill's.
Are you going to go painting? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, once again, thank you so much. You're an inspiration, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, you guys take care and have a great day.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, bye.